Okay, sound all right in the back? Thumbs up. All right, Coach, whenever you're ready.
All right. Again, after evaluating the film from the Alabama game, it was a great opportunity for our team, again, to compete in a great environment against a very good opponent. I think we learned some more about our team, more about ourselves, good and bad, the things we have to improve on and opportunities. But from a competition standpoint and a competitive standpoint, I thought we played hard again. But now what we have to do is play more intelligent and understand momentum swings of the game to control those situations and take advantage of our opportunities better. And I think if you look at the game, as we break it down gradually here, you'll see that's what Alabama did and we didn't do enough of. And that's what really good football teams do. They're a very good team. They're very well coached. They play well. They've got a great culture to win, and that's what we're developing here. And I think our kids at times responded well to a lot of different adversity. For instance, to have a turnover in the second play of the game, Alabama to score on the first play to go up 7-0, to battle right back and then take a 99-yard drive and go right down and score against a great team and tie it up. Then they responded back with a drive. Again, they kept responding back, makes it 14-7. Then we responded right back and had a field goal and had an opportunity on one of those plays that really could have tied it up 14-14 on it. But at the same time, we kick it 14-10. We were competitive in the game. Then the game goes to 21-10. Then we take it back to 21-13. With an opportunity there, and with one of those, and again, one little opportunity in the red zone, we should have been able to hit a slant right there and score, and we missed a side adjustment. Receiver didn't run it, and kick a field goal. But you're 21-13 with 3 minutes to go in a half. You're one possession down, you're kicking it, and you got a 3rd and 7. And I think this is where Alabama really sealed the game as far as took the momentum away. It's 21-13, 2.07 to go, I can remember it. And I'm saying 3rd and 7. If we get them stopped here, I'm going to call timeout. We punt it. We have a good field position, go down and try and tie it up or get it back to 21-16, 21-21. And they hit a 3rd and 7, hit it down. We may have a miscommunication and busted coverage. And turn a guy loose, he catches it, we miss a tackle, they score. Then we have 2 excellent plays. We're going to kind of go 2 minute if we get good field position. When we pop 2 plays, got about 20 yards, make a great play. And we had to slide over in the pocket, I thought it was a good throw, not a bad route. Their guy makes a great play. Their guy makes a great play on a ball, and then they get to kick a field goal and goes 31-13. And it's from 21-13 to 31-13 right there where we could have had the ball. And I think that's what we have to learn as a football team, how to seize those moments, how to capitalize on those moments, and keep it to a 1-score game at least going into halftime, understanding how to compete in those games. And then had an opportunity coming out second half. Defense got to stop. We didn't move it on offense. They scored. Then we come back and scored. Now, and our kids played hard. We moved the football consistently in the game. The 2 turnovers were critical. Got to do a little better job on 3rd down, but then we didn't stop them on 3rd down in the first half, but we did in the second half and got some nice stops in what we did. So, from that standpoint, how the game flowed, we just got to learn. We had some opportunities right there. We were down 2 scores, had the ball 40, 50-yard line on our own side. Could have got some points, could have really gotten the game back in to put pressure. We never put the pressure back on them enough, and when they did, they answered up, and that's why they're a good football team, and that's why we're learning, and we have to grow in that aspect. But from a competitive standpoint, no. There was no dogging, there was no quitting, there was no that. Now, we have to do some things. I'll talk special teams, offense, and defense, some of the things we have to do well. But I'm just talking about an overall picture of how you got to compete in the game and change momentum of the game, and when you have those opportunities to put pressure back on your opponent, and that's something we got to continue to grow and understand as a team. We have to do a better job as coaches to educating our players. I thought special teams, I thought we did a nice job. I thought both kickers were outstanding. Our punter, Braden Mann, was outstanding. Kicking the ball, and he's been doing that. I know you say that's but he's been doing that in practice. That's the way he's been kicking it, and very consistent. We covered pretty well. We actually got 2 clipping penalties off of those long punts that pinned him back in some critical situations and what we did. So from that standpoint, he was outstanding. Even had a nice punt inside the 20. His kickoffs were outstanding out of the end zone. He hit him really well. Seth has stepped in and done an outstanding job. 3 field goals, 2 extra points, one of them a 52-yarder. At big times in the game when the game was still mattering at 21-10, at 21-13, he made it 14-10. Big kicks at critical times in the games. I thought were very critical. Right down the middle, hit him very well. Great distance on him. Is kicking the ball and has been doing that in practice. So very happy there. Coverage teams did a nice job in that regard. Return team, kickoff return, they were kicking it high and getting into the end zone. So we getting into 25, punt return. Only one time I thought we could have gotten to was a bad kick, but otherwise we almost blocked a kick, which they started rugbying, and they shanked a couple kicks. Again, worked in our favor in the field position battle and special teams. Again, I think we're really, we emphasize special teams hard. We do it every day of every practice. There's things we do every day and hard, and our guys are buying into it and doing a great job in all special teams, in my opinion. Defensively, I thought we played the run well. I thought we took the air out of things at times. I thought the physicality, they got some runs at the end, but I thought in our running game up front, 'Cause I don't, we didn't dominate the line of scrimmage, but we held our own there in the run game. We didn't create enough pressure on the passer with our pass rush and things, but I thought we played the run extremely well. We got some eye violations in the secondary, which created some open guys, which in turn, we got to learn to tackle. We talk about open field tackling, but open field tackling will be better when you cover a little tighter and you don't eye violate. You're a lot closer to a guy, and you get great players like they have in space, and they're very athletic, that they create space, and we didn't tackle well. And then they broke some tackles. Their tight end was a very strong guy. We had a couple times we could have got him down, for 1 or 2 yard gains, and he runs through tackles, and we have to tackle better. We have to wrap our arms, not try to hit. We got to target below the neck. That was unfortunate for 6, but we can't have that. We teach it every day, face up, target numbers to waist, and then legs, and how we're practicing, and we got to get that done. We got to get that across more and quit having the one-hit knockouts. So we got to keep him in the game. But we got to be more consistent, and like I say, too many big plays in the passing game, and a lot of that came from they won some battles and our eye violations, staring in the backfield at times, getting losing guys, and then trying to do too much, being man coverage and try to go fill on a run and know you got to play your guy sometimes and try to do too much. And sometimes when you feel good teams, you feel like you want to make up for somebody else. You can't. You have to learn to play that and do your job and let the other guy do his job. So we'll continue to work on that offensively. Again, we ran the football well with the quarterback, but that was designed. They're hard to run it on inside. We ended up having about 160, 70 yards, and a lot of those were design runs, and we knew how we're going in. And also, we ran the ball a couple times with the backs and did a nice job. Our backs blocked well. Pass protection's got to get better. We give up 7, and one early was, the couple early should never happen. We're in perfect slide protection, 4-on-3, and a guy gets beat back on the other side, and that costs us a turnover. But again, at the quarterback, you're like the eraser. When things go wrong, you got to erase all of the mistakes and take care of the ball and do that. And Kellen knows that. But we got to continue to do that. But we made some big plays. We made a lot of big plays. We gave up big plays, but we made some big plays and do that. But I thought we moved the football. The red zone opportunity, we had 2 opportunities down in one. I said just a blitz read, which we got to get. The guy's got to get his eyes around. Kellen was ready to let it go, and we just didn't. Nobody's fault. It's a miscommunication. Got to coach it better. And another opportunity down there. But at the end of the game, we moved it. But we moved the ball well in that regard. But they force you got to score touchdowns. They were scoring touchdowns. You can't match them with field goals. And the thing they did by staying ahead, they kept you from being as balanced as you really wanted to be, because you're always behind, playing from behind and having to play catch up. Because if you blew a drive, you knew they had a chance to score again. But that's just the way the game went. But I thought our kids played hard. I thought we fought. Had a couple opportunities in the first half, right there in the second half, to really squeeze it tight and make it tight, and make it interesting. And we just couldn't quite do it enough. But I'm not happy at all. I'm not discouraged, and I am encouraged about the way we play. I just hope we can learn from this situation. Going on the road, we have to learn from this. Taking it forward, understanding those momentum swings, not putting yourself in that situation, play with more intelligence and more consistency on how we play. Not that our players are dumb, it's just how you play situations and really understand how to capitalize on moments. There's a time, this is it. You got to hit like whatever in bad, you got to hit that foul shot. You got to hit that jumper. You got to make that drive. You got to make that block or that throw or that catch. And those are things that we got to understand and take your game as that we say go higher. Just raise your level and focus on what you got to do and be fundamentally sound enough to do it. But I love the feedback on the sideline. Kids were competing, coming off, giving us the information about what was going on, how it was going on. The communication was good. There was nobody disconnected or intimidated or out of whack. Just, we got to play a little bit better in those situations and what goes on. But we'll continue to grow. It was an opportunity. Hopefully we'll see that in practice today and keep doing the things we're doing well, and then fix on the things we don't, and go play an Arkansas team who's playing very well right now. As far as defense, they give up 225 yards to Auburn. That's all they had. And Auburn scored got turnovers and special team mistakes. They blocked a punt, had 2 punt returns, had a fumble and interception. That's how Auburn got all the points. They only give up 220 yards of offense for the whole game. That's outstanding in what they did. And so defensively, they're playing very well. Offensively, they're moving the football. They had a couple turnovers, but they got skill guys that are moving it. Chad always does a great job. I've all the way back to Clemson days, and I knew him in high school when I was at LSU. He used to come visit us, and I saw him at clinics, and we were friends and known him a long time. He's always done an outstanding job on the offensive side of the football, and they can move the football. So we'll have our hands full. Got to play all 3 phases, and just a great opportunity for us to take the next step forward and go play a great game.
Down front, Brent, and then to the left, Zach.
You just mentioned turnovers. How imperative is it for y'all to create more turnovers moving forward?
It is, and you have to do it well. You have to cover guys, or you have to be there, not eye violate. You have to be in place to make them. And that's the thing. We eye violate and stare. We just stared in the backfield sometimes. Let a guy get where our eyes should be on him and let a guy get 2 steps in front where you can't play the ball. And when you're tackling, it's hard to strip a ball when you're playing from behind and not closing ground to make those. We got to do that. We work on them every day. But also in our overall base things, just playing a little tighter coverages and being there just a little quicker can help us do that.
To the left, Zach, and then to the right, Gabe.
Jimbo, how does playing 2 teams like Clemson and Alabama in the first 4 weeks benefit you guys moving on for the rest of the season?
I think from a psychological standpoint it does, because as you say, those are 2 teams that have been as successful as anybody in college football. You see from a physical standpoint that, we didn't dominate line of scrimmage or that, but they didn't, we had our share, they won their share. So, up front, the physicalities of the game, they did. We by far did not win the lines of scrimmage. But, at times we played well there. So, and you can score against guys. You can compete against guys. Now you have to translate that into understanding how to win. That's the next step, understanding how to take advantage of those opportunities in which they give you. And I think from watching those 2 teams, when you watch the games against them, there was 2 or 3 key moments in the game when I said Alabama seized it right at the end of the first half, beginning of the second half. And how Clemson did a couple times in the game when we had some opportunities early and we didn't capitalize. We let some scoring opportunities go. And I think that's where I say we got to learn. Well, you don't. It's like getting somebody down and you start to let them up. You got to keep pressure and understanding how important it is to finish all those situations, how every play matters when you play great people. Every play matters. That's the thing about playing teams that are used to winning and playing well, that you always say, what play makes a difference in the game? Well, I don't know. Well, so don't take, make every one of them count. But understanding the importance of every one of them, the focus, the concentration, and how every one of them affects the next play. And I think that's the biggest thing we can learn from them, and that we have the ability to compete with them. We have to get the psychological disposition to understand how to compete consistently to play with them.
To the right, Gabe, and then Ben.
Hey, Joe, I was wondering if you could update us on 3 of your defenders, Keltrick Carper, Clifford Chapman, and then Michael Clemens. Where are those guys in the
Carper should be back in practice. Carper's very important. You saw that with the lack of. Leon went in, did a great job as a young freshman, but you wish you had a more experienced guy to help in that rotation to take less reps off. But Leon did a great job in the game. Carper should be back in practice. He'll be back in practice this week. Chapman, hoping, is a couple weeks out. He's still recovering, but is healing well. And Clemens, from a healing standpoint, I think is very, very close. So it's just a matter of doctors and the pain tolerance, what he can take, from what I understand.
All right, Ben.
Jimbo, given the opponents in Clemson and Alabama, how much stock do you put in the offensive line struggles for the first 4 games of the year?
Well, I think there's some struggles, but I think there's some real good things. You put 501 up against, you don't put 500 yards up against Clemson without a good offensive line. You don't put 400 yards, have 440 yards of positive offense against Alabama without the offensive line doing a good job. Do we have mistakes? Yes, and they exploit those without a doubt. But I think we've had some struggles, but I don't think we've had drastic struggles against, you're playing as good a people as there are in college football. And I still think there's a lot of good being done in the offensive line. So there's some struggles, but there's a lot of good. There's 900 yards of offense in 2 games against arguably the 2 best defensive football teams in America.
Go to the back, very back behind the lights, Coach Jake.
Coach, playing this game in the Metroplex against Arkansas, do you like going up there and playing? Is that good for recruiting, or is that something that maybe in the future you'd like to see at home?
I don't know. I've never done it. No, I think anytime you get a chance to expose yourself to other parts of Texas and the great city of Dallas, and that's a huge area for us to recruit. It's a great venue to go play in. That's as nice a place as there is in the country. It's beneficial for fans that, our fans that get to go up, stay up there and see, and other fans that get to come down from even farther north or wherever that are A&M fans. I think it's a very good thing. To ask me, do I ever want to walk out of Kyle Field? No. Let's take one of our away games and move it up there. You know what I mean? But, you don't ever want to walk out this venue and what's here. But that is a tremendous venue to play, and I think it's a great opportunity for us, and it is good for us.
Stay on the right side, Suzanne.
Hey, Jimbo, of Kellen's 4 games, what's the best he's played and why?
I think all 4 games you grow, and I think every game is different because the situations are different. You get caught up looking at a quarterback statistically. You can't do that. Statistics only tell part of the story about how the momentum of a game goes, the flow of the game, the leadership of the game, how the sideline's reacting, how you're reacting, things you're being asked to do. And I think he's played a very, very – he's had 2 turnovers in that deal all year, which was there last week. One was, it's inches when you're stepping up, and the other one, he's just trying to make a play, which, you got to eliminate that. But I think he's played pretty well. Is there every read perfect? No. Is every throw perfect? No. But he's played pretty daggone well, and the plays he's created and the competition level when he started to step up and never flinching when we get behind, whatever happens, rallying the guys have supreme confidence in him. So I think all four. I don't, whether we won him or lost him, I think he's really competed well as a quarterback. And I feel when we're calling plays, and as a play caller, you can look into a guy's eyes and say, he's got good numbers, but things aren't going well. You can there's senses it's hard to explain to the public. I've never gotten that out of him. I mean, every moment of every game, whether it's a mistake or a good play, he's into it. He understands it, why it's happening, and has played very consistent that way. And his competitive nature is super, his toughness. It really is.
Down front, Brent, and then to the left, Travis.
With 4 games behind you, how do you treat the new redshirt rule, or does it come into play at all with
Well,
your guys?
it just depends how many guys have played. If some of the guys haven't played enough, you can play in any 4 games. So it's still the number of 4 games that are. You have to evaluate each guy. If each guy's already played in 4, if he's already played in 4 games, you're basically saying you ain't a redshirt. I mean, he's already in your mix and you're too deep. You know what I mean? And flowing on special teams, on offense, on defense, and the things that go. And I'm gonna be honest with you, with numbers of college football today, it's hard. Unless some of your big guys, you get a few more numbers at positions, it's hard to redshirt guys. It really is. But we'll maybe evaluate a couple guys who've only played 1 or 2 games and see where their status is and how they're developing in practice. We'll play that each week by year. And then also injuries, however the injuries occur. So we got to keep trying to develop those guys in practice.
To the left, Travis.
With the way that the rule is written now, do you think that targeting gives the offensive player just a little more of an advantage than the defensive player?
I think it makes it hard for the defensive guy but you can't ever tell an offensive guy too, and I'm an offensive guy. I think it makes it very tough on defensive guys, no doubt. But at the same time, how do you tell a runner that he can't lower his head when guys are coming to hit him and protect himself through his shoulders? Or you're going to get football. It's hard both ways. The thing you got to do on defense is you just got to be below the shoulders. You got to go back to old school tackling and get your shoulders and wrap up from numbers to the waistline or the thighs and run through people. And you just got to lower your levels, and you got to see what you. And I don't care what it is, you got to see what you hit, because I don't care if you hit low or hit high. That's when injuries occur to the neck, and those things happen when your head is down, and you got to do a better job. But to answer your question, yes, I think it's extremely tough.
And physically, is that something that y'all are
We're constantly
every day?
pounding every day and have been. Yes. I mean, that's the thing. And guys, as I say, it's not they've done some things, not wrong, but I mean, just the way the game is played, and still a habit for them to do it. And that's just, we got to continue to break that habit. We got to make them do it over. And every time they, flinch, you got to jump on them about it, because it's not that you want to berate them, but one, it hurts. One, could hurt themselves, and 2, it hurts our football team for those guys not being on the field. And we've got to be able to fix that.
Second row, Ben, and then Olin.
I'm going to tell you what, take the face mask off. You won't see all that stuff anymore. That's why you go back in the days. That's why guys all tackled with their arms. You didn't see those headshots. You didn't have no face mask stick in there.
Ben.
Jimbo, how going back to the offensive line, how concerned are you with the lack of rushing attack against Alabama and Clemson? I guess
I did. We ran for 160 yards. Those are design runs.
With the running backs, not the quarterbacks.
Well, I mean, but against Alabama, to get extra guys and get levels and get angles, that's the game today. You're going to run. You're going to run the quarterback. That's part of the running game today. That's college football. We're against those good teams, against those caliber guys. That also opens up, makes them also be diverse. And while we're doing that, being able to throw the ball like we're throwing it. I mean, we got to get better at it. There's no doubt. But certain teams like that, you're not going to sit there and beat your head against a wall and run uphill when you don't have to. And we'll get better at it and enhance. I'm always worried that we got to get better in all phases, whether it's running the football with the back, with the quarterback, or with throwing the football. But we got to get better at it, no doubt. But it's not a panic thing, because I know what we have to do when we can run the football.
Staying to the right, Olin, and then Cecil on the left.
2 things, if you don't mind. First, just your evaluation of the play of Cortney Davis thus far.
Ben, Cortney's played really well. I'm going to tell you what, you talk about a pleasant surprise. I mean, and just now starting to really get physically healthy enough to where his body's used to playing again and what he's doing, and the confidence to go play in the game. Because I don't care what you say, when you set 2 years, just to go play again. I mean, it's remarkable. And this guy is a really good player. I mean, really good. He can play all positions at that level, whether it's in the slot or outside, and he's got to learn those. I mean, we got to get him in there as we go. He can be a split end. He can be a flanker. He can run with the ball underneath. He can get deep. He can run every route on the route tree and has tremendous ball skills. I mean, I really am. He is developing and been a real pleasant surprise and been a big part of our game plans every week.
And I assume when you were at offensive coordinator at LSU, you might have. Forgive me for not knowing this. Competed against John Chavis before. Any thoughts about that? Going against
Excellent was excellent. I mean, he was at Tennessee during those days, and they had some really good teams, and we had some good teams. We played for SEC championships. We played in big games. I mean, both ways, and we won. They won. I mean, very, very physical, very tough, very demanding. Plays the run extremely well, pressures the quarterback, comes at you, challenges every throw. John has been in that league a long time and played a lot of great football and done a heck of a job. He's one of the best coordinators been in that league in a long, long time. I mean, he's one of those top guys the last 15, 20 years, 25 years, however long he's been in it. It's a long time. John is a very good football coach.
To the left, Cease, and then to the right, Gabe.
Are you surprised at these tackling issues? Did you see them coming in practice? And what happens when LaCamera's healthy?
Well, we'll make that judgment when it gets there. We'll have to wait and see how his healing is. That's another one. We're just waiting to see that bone, how it goes. We'll see that. No, I mean, we preach every day, tackling down low. We don't target our own guys, and we haven't. And we've thudded and hit it, and when we thud, we don't go all the way to the ground. But we're still form tackling and heads up and doing everything, and we coach every second of it, and it hasn't. And like I say, the first 2 weeks, I understand. The last one, I think, was more of a snap reaction. He's got to learn to get down lower. I think he saw it, but we just got to target lower.
I just meant the misses. You have a lot of misses.
Oh, no, we haven't. Well, we've had a lot of misses against really good people who in our coverages. And again, I go back to it. It's tackling, but also it's coverage. I mean, when a guy gets that open, it's hard to close a gap in coverage and get him down in space if he's a really good player. You know what I'm saying? We can't eye violate before that and be closer to putting ourselves in position to make plays. No.
All right, to the right, Gabe.
I want to ask you, Jimbo, about Trevor Wood. How has he really grown into his role, and where do you see it expanding?
Well, bad thing, he got hurt the last scrimmage. See, and he was out for about almost right to that first game. The first game, we didn't expect him to play, and he got healthy the day before. But now he's just now getting healthy because Trevor can run, too, as a big guy. He's blocking, we're in that physical role. But we don't mind throwing him. We tried to throw some flag routes the other day. He's got really good ball skills and can run vertically. Not quite as fast as Jace, but he's a different type. He's even a bigger target and can be a real threat in the passing game. And it's glad to get him healthy, and we got to get him going. And he's played well. We just got to get him going in the passing. We had a couple opportunities the other day, just didn't get it to him. But the ball ended up going to other places. But he can be a big part down the stretch for us. He's a very good football player.
Time for one or two more. Brett, down front.
I know you said you'd like to move that away game to, Kyle or whatever, in terms of playing at AT&T Stadium. Is it overblown, the idea that playing in an environment like that helps on the recruiting front in a big city? Or
No, I think it does help. I'll tell you where else I think it helps too. I think when you are fortunate enough to go play in bowl games, or if you're lucky and we start getting to the levels of playing in playoff games, neutral site games, things like that, your kids are in atmospheres and environments that aren't either at their home or your home, because that's the way you play those types of games, big major bowl games and all bowl games and playoff games. So I think that's always good. The more you can put your kids in that kind of situation, I think it's a growing experience for them to learn it, where it's a 50-50 crowd and nobody has a home field advantage, blah, blah, blah. I think all those things are good. And the more venues and big venues you can play in like that, not just stadiums here, but I mean, like where you'd play a playoff game, because that's where they're always going to be a playoff game every, couple years or whatever in Dallas. It's one of the spots. So I think any of those times you can play in those spots, it's good.
All right, Coach. Looks like that's it. Thanks.